Now this is some news that I have been wanting to hear for a very, very long time. You see, for years, people have been coming at me saying things like, "Oh, Alex, the Nintendo ninjas are gonna get you if you try to emulate your games on your Steam Deck. Oh, are you stealing Nintendo games? They're gonna get you. Oh, Nintendo shut down Yuzu. Piracy is over, baby." I've heard it all the entire time. And now yesterday, Nintendo is starting to get what they finally deserve. Their actual abuse of legality and lawyers clearly has a limit, and it has been reached thanks to Palworld. You see, recently Nintendo has been on an absolute tear like I've talked about before, them taking down emulators while providing no other outlet for buying games or playing games besides their insanely, terribly bespoke hardware. At the same time though, they've also been raising prices of all their old consoles and even bringing into the market $80 video games. To make matters even worse, they've now tried to attack the entire video game industry by filing patents of game mechanics that have long been around well before Nintendo even used those mechanics in their own actual games. Nintendo, in fact, has patented writing on mounts. So basically, World of Warcraft and any other major MMO that has a mount where you fly the mount and then land the mount and then get off the mount, they apparently tend to own. And one of the bigger ones was using a catching mechanic where you throw an object or a ball to then capture a creature and then use that on your own. So many other games Nintendo's patents were going to directly impact, it would literally go ahead and ruin the majority of the gaming industry. Yet here we are and seeing that Nintendo's patents truly have no real course of action anymore. And the better part about all of this is they lost one of these patent filings in their own hometown. According to Hazardor Gaming on Twitter, Nintendo's anti-Palworld monster capture patent applications has been rejected by the Japanese Patent Office, quote, lacking an inventive step. As my late great Cuban grandpapa used to say, "Ponga el puerco en la caja china, mi socio." That's right, baby. We're gonna go ahead and cook that pork tonight because this right here shows that Nintendo's patent filings have 100% been completely frivolous in every sense of the word. Seeing Nintendo try to pull every trick under the book they possibly can in this lawsuit against Palworld has honestly been hilarious to watch the entire time. I have never seen a company that so many people laud and fawn over literally freak the hell out at every conceivable aspect, trying to go ahead and stop a couple of guys from making a fun little game with monsters and guns. That is the most insane thing I have ever actually seen. I really feel like all of this is mostly because Nintendo truly knows they have nothing in their own back catalog of what to bring out, and even then, every time they try to bring something out, it's always the most inconsistent slop you could ever possibly see. The fact that we saw Pokemon ZNA released in such a state right now, and people are still trying to lap it up as a quote-unquote good game, even though the budget for that game is absolute peanuts, and at the same time providing nothing good for the player at all, it is honestly crazy to see that people still try to defend this company in any sense of the word. The fact that Nintendo has also done multiple things, like going around and filing patents for actually summoning creatures in other video games, and having those patents in fact be approved in the first place truly shows that even in the US, the patent system is incredibly archaic and needs a lot of rework to be done. Hell, I'm not the only one to bring this up. In fact, previous IP lawyers have even said this about what Nintendo's been doing recently. Quote, saying, "An embarrassing failure of the US patent system. Video game IP lawyer says Nintendo's latest patents on Pokemon mechanics should not have happened, full stop." And that's really what I'm talking about. Instead of Nintendo going around and saying, "You know what? This company did it better than us. We got to get our heads back in the game. Lock the break in and finally do something good, what do instead? They try to silence every other single gameplay mechanic on the face of the earth because they want to be the only ones to control everything. We've talked about the actual control in the gaming industry and how these multi-billion and trillion-dollar companies are trying to do it. Some are doing it via controlling content. Nintendo, on the other hand, is controlling all of game development by filing frivolous patents that literally make no sense. Hell, even in the past, we've talked about as well how the head lawyer of the Pokemon company literally said these patents are in fact frivolous on their own, saying, quote, former Pokemon company head lawyer says, yeah, those latest Nintendo patents are a bit much, aren't they? I wish Nintendo and Pokemon good luck when the first other developer just entirely ignores this patent. All of this happening right now isn't just about Nintendo getting their comeuppance. No, it's about the fact that one company is trying to control every single aspect of game development from first to last. And that is going to be the biggest problem that I have with this entire thing. My own personal feelings on Nintendo truly have no bones about this, but the fact that right now we're seeing a company that I grew up with, whose games I used to truly enjoy, literally become the actual villain of the gaming industry is honestly insane to watch. And the fact that they are so incredibly timid, turned down, and scared of Palworld in every conceivable sense, then by going around and filing patents after filing the lawsuit, by the way, truly shows that either A, they are in fact creatively bankrupt, or B, they have nothing left to fight with. And even then, what they're fighting with is getting denied. Let's look at the article and go from there. According to VGC, Nintendo has been denied a patent in Japan for Pokemon-like capturing mechanic. The application was seemingly made with Palworld's capture mechanic in mind. The application was made in March 2024 and partly describes the act of catching a character in-game in a method that appears to be similar to that in the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu Eevee games. Among the patent's description via machine translation, the mechanic causes the computer to, when a capture item hits the field, character makes a capture success determination as to whether the capture is successful. However, as spotted by Games Fray, the application has now been rejected by the Japan Patent Office after it looked at, quote, prior art examples of the invention being used before the application was made, which had been submitted by a third party. Finally, absolutely finally, somebody with an actual brain saw what Nintendo was in fact doing, and the fact that these patents were filed by a third party to go through and just say, hey, these mechanics, no, these are ours, even though we've had other games from other companies use them the entire time, and of course, they're going to impact the entire gaming landscape. But you know what? No, guys, we own it. It's ours to do with whatever we want. No, that's not how this works. Just because your name is Nintendo on the box or on the side of the building, it doesn't mean you own video games. And mechanics that you didn't even come up with on your own really don't make any sense for you to try and patent in that actual space. And the crazier part is it happening in your own backyard, where so many rules and laws are so different in regards to actual copyright and actual patent infringement, where in my guesstimation, Japan's actual idea of copyright and patent infringement is far more strict than it is in the US. To go into that space and to lose that kind of thing in your own backyard and say, uh-oh, whoops, I guess we made an oopsie poopsie, really goes to show that Nintendo was not doing this to protect their IP. They weren't doing this to go through and say, hey, we're going to go ahead and make better games. No, they filed these patents because they knew Palworld had their number. They filed those patents because they knew they couldn't do anything better, even though the actual audience of Pokemon fans has been telling Nintendo what to do with that series for the longest time. But the thing is, though, there's even more to this story, and it gets even better because you can tell Nintendo is really nothing more than a jealous ex. The article continues by saying the notice of refusal published by the JPO says the inventions claimed in this application were invented in Japan or elsewhere before the filing of the application. It then cites examples of games like Ark, Craftopia, Monster Hunter 4, and even Pokemon Go, which have mechanics which could fall under the descriptions in the application, suggesting those ideas already existed. Imagine getting cooked by your own series against the entire company you're trying to take down in the first place. Pokemon Go. Actually having that game be used against you. You know, the company that you work with to make the Pokemon games that you had on the mobile phone that you love to put on your systems. Yeah, they used your own game against you, being like, no fam, you can't. This mechanic's already been around the entire time, and even with other games as well. The JPO knew exactly what Nintendo was doing from the very beginning, and they didn't play ball. The thing is, though, that doesn't excuse everything altogether. We've also seen the US go ahead and approve these patents as well, even though they are in fact insane to do so. And the problem is this legal battle isn't over just yet. But the fact that right now we're seeing other legislative branches of other countries say, no, this isn't going to work on your end, Nintendo. Either get good or get out is honestly a great thing to see. I'm not here trying to take Nintendo down a peg. Well, actually, I kind of am, in fact. You see, the thing is, my biggest problem with Nintendo has always been their insanely horrible stance on emulation, and the fact that they are consistently going through and stopping the ability for you to play older games that you in fact own because you want to dump them onto your PC. Oh, we don't like the way you're playing the game you already bought, therefore we're gonna shut that shit down completely. No, that's not how it works. I don't care how many times you autistically screech into your microphone, emulation is in fact legal. It's been proven so. The difference is, though, Nintendo is going around and suing everybody into the dirt to go through and say, no, you're not going to emulate, or unless if you do, we're going to sue you and you'll never exist ever again. And what they're doing is financially bullying people to go through and make that their reality. And the worst part about it is there's people going around and defending the multi-billion-dollar corporation in doing so. That's the scarier part. You know, the same company that has gone around and said, oh, if you can't buy our games from us, go to a third-party website like eBay or any sort of like thrift store that you want to get our games. Well, if you don't care about your older game sales, then clearly you don't care about your games in general. And emulating them would be the exact same thing as just simply buying them from a third-party seller or even a third-party website. The problem that I have with Nintendo, though, is right now the fact that they are refusing to put their games onto other platforms, especially platforms like the PC, a market that would be more than happy to go through and purchase their games. But Nintendo wants that absolute control. Imagine, if you will, if Nintendo actually did the actual smart thing and put Pokemon onto the PC, onto Steam, and competed directly with Palworld in that sense. You wouldn't have this problem right now, would you, Nintendo? And that's really the knock on the door that I want to make very clear for so many people. PC gamers like myself and so many others really do want to buy Nintendo products, but we don't want to be strung down to Nintendo's archaic hardware or their insane way of controlling their actual software or anything else along that nature. Again, I as a consumer should have all the power in the relationship, not the other way around. They want my money, they're going to have to earn it from me specifically, and they have to kowtow to my demands, not the other way around as well. But the thing is, though, so many people still don't believe that's the case, and that is going to be the saddest thing of all, because a Nintendo simp really can be the worst kind of simp that you've ever actually seen. The article says that while the JPO's refusal isn't binding on the ongoing legal battle between Nintendo and Palworld Studio Pocket Pair, especially because Nintendo can still appeal or amend the application, it's noted that judges tend to respect the decisions made by patent examiners who have more training in this field. As such, Pocket Pair could point to this application refusal in an attempt to influence the judge's decision. Nintendo and the Pokemon Company filed a lawsuit against Pocket Pair in Japan last year, alleging that Palworld infringes on 3 patents that are related to monster catching gameplay, including summoning pals by throwing spheres and using pals as vehicles like gliders. This is absolutely 100% fantastic, not just for Palworld, but also for the Pocket Pair Company. I really feel like this lawsuit was completely frivolous in every sense of the word. The only reason Nintendo in fact did it was to shut Pocket Pair down in order to not have any actual competition in that space, even though Digimon has done incredibly well even on the PC as of late. What we're looking at instead is Nintendo doing the one thing and one thing only, and that's being a bitter, jealous ex, and people getting excited about playing a different game rather than playing the one Nintendo in fact wanted to create. This really goes to show that, in my opinion, Nintendo has truly left their glory years of actually making good, fun games and really just sitting back on their hands and doing nothing more than just pumping out the exact same slop they always have been pumping out over and over again. Yet we have all these middle-aged grown adult men go around and defending this actual company because it made them happy at some point in their lives. Sure, Nintendo used to make really good games, but now they are few and far between in what we're seeing in the actual space. And I think what's happening right now is, if Nintendo really wanted to have true competition, if they actually wanted to go through and have a better gameplay overall and shut Pocket Pair down, Pokemon ZNA would have been a far better game overall, and you wouldn't have all the criticism that you're having with this game in this exact moment in time. What an absolute clusterfuck and disaster. This patent denial by the JPO could be the actual linchpin against Nintendo in their own case, simply because, like we saw in the article, the judges would in fact look at that first and foremost and say, hey, wait a minute, if you're filing these patents frivolously, this may not even be a good case to work through, and you could in fact lose it. And if that happens, and Nintendo does lose this case against Pocket Pair, it could put every other case into question of every other legal matter they've tried to push through into this space, basically silencing individuals, shutting people down, suing people into oblivion, and trying to go ahead and put people into ruin simply because Nintendo didn't like the way you did something, or they didn't like the fact that you downloaded a ROM, or they went ahead and they got mad at you for whatever particular reason about streaming a video game. Nintendo needs to learn how to get with the times, and they were refusing to do so. If they simply would just go ahead and say, hey, things are changing, we gotta change too, then they wouldn't be in this mess right now. And honestly, they would be a far better setup for people to actually enjoy their products and even like that company as a whole. But what I think is happening right now is Nintendo is ruining their own reputation, and the only ones sticking by them are going to be the ones clapping like seals. Dare I say, the Disney adults of video games. Not a fun thing to be. So my entire hope about all of this is actually simple: that the JPO continues to deny other patents for Nintendo and turn down what's actually happening, and Nintendo in fact loses this court case against Pocket Pair, giving the ability for other developers to go through and be the replacement of what Nintendo needs to be in the first place, because clearly they don't want to do the job, let somebody else do it instead. And if Nintendo gets mad about it, well, too bad, so sad. Next time, lock the fuck in. But you know what? I want to hear what you guys have to say about this entire thing in the comments section down below. Are you siding with Pocket Pair? Or are you actually with Nintendo? I want to hear what you guys have to say about this entire thing. If you want to see more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, and even live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 96K, and I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access or most during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't worry about it. Just show up Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on this channel as I go ahead and get insulted by 800 people with AITTS and while wearing a banana suit, and now I have a voice changer that makes me sound like an uwu anime dami mommy. Yeah. I will say ara ara to you in a ASMR voice. Yes. You're going to love it. Trust me. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!